Hey Yu-Gi-Oh fans, here's a question for you. What deck have you loved playing from the first time you picked it up? Leave your answers in the comments and I'll share them in my next video. For me, it's Adagnister. To be honest everybody, the main reason why I love the deck so much is because of how colorful it is. But I also love its ability to link climb, which is now more consistent to pull off thanks to a couple of support cards released in Lightning Overdrive this past year. And therefore easier to reach the deck's win condition, the Link-6 The Arrival Cybers released an Eternity Code last year. This is not the perfect deck list, but I have been returning to this deck a lot lately, adjusting it to make the most competitive build possible. And fortunately for all the Cybers players, this deck did not receive any hits on the October 2021 TCG Banlist update, so this build will be uploaded as it currently is. So if you enjoy deck profiles like this, then leave a like, and if you haven't so already, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers everybody. With your help, I know we can make that milestone soon. And I want to thank everybody who has supported my content creation journey so far. With that being said, adding this to deck profile, where are you at? So to start things off, of course I have the usual suspects. I run 3 copies of a Chi-Chi, 3 copies of Akari, 2 Doyon, 2 Bururu, 1 Hiyari, 1 Danmari, and 1 Gachiri. If there was one thing that I wanted to change with this lineup, it would probably be switching out Danmari Adagnister for something else like Doyon Adagnister. Just because its effect where you can target a card and face up on the field and negate its effects is too conditional, because you would have to control a Link-6 monster in order to do that. And even though you have the Arrival Cybers, which is almost impossible to take out, it still has its flaws because its attack is dependent on the number of link materials you use for its link summon, and it can be taken out by monsters like kaijus, for example. It does act as an Altergeist Conqueror for the Adagnister archetype though. Personally, one of my favorite additions to this deck is Gachiri Adagnister, because when this card is sent to the graveyard for a link summon, then you can actually target one of the monsters on your field and make it unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of the next turn. In addition to those Adagnister monsters, I also run 2 copies of Format Skipper, 2 of Ash Blossom, and 2 copies of Ghost Spell. And the main reason why I decided to use Format Skipper is because this is actually a pretty good, there's a pretty cool combo that you can do with this, which I will show you at the end of the video. I still think that both Ash Blossom and Ghost Spell are pretty good hand traps to use even in this format. But I don't want to see it as much as possible, so that's why I decided to cut it down to 2. And now for the spells, of course, I run 3 copies of Ignister Island, and I also run 3 copies of I Meet You. This is one of my favorite additions to the Adagnister deck, if you ask me. I also run 2 copies of Idol Reborn, as well as You and I, and 2 copies of Cyanide Mining. I don't run 3 just because I want to avoid bricking, as I always say. 2 copies of Potted Desires, 1 copy of Terraforming, and 1 copy of 1-for-1. I Meet You is a pretty good card as well, but it's basically an additional searcher for your Adagnister deck. So you have plenty of Cybers monsters with 2300 attack that you can reveal from your deck or from your hand or your extra deck, and you can search for your Adagnister monsters from there. Idol Reborn, I might change this to Fighting Spirit when that card gets released in Brothers of Legend, so I'm pretty excited about that. You don't necessarily have to run You and I, but I think it's a pretty good card. So this card gives you effects depending on the attribute of the Cybers monster that you special summon with 2300 original attack. For example, Earth Water. If the Cybers monster is Earth or Water, then you can have the attack of a face-up monster on the field. If the monster you summon is Wind or Light, then you can negate the effects of a face-up card on the field, whether it's a monster, a spell, or a trap. And if it's a Fire or Dark monster that you special summon, then you can special summon an Adagnister token. The first 2 effects that I mentioned are pretty good because they are non-targeting. Maybe if I wanted to out something like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, then I can basically bait out that disruption. And for the traps, I decided to run 3 copies of Rivalry of Warlords, as well as 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence was a last-minute addition because the other day I went up against Virtual World in a tournament a couple of weeks ago, and in Game 2, I had no idea that Virtual World could in fact synchro summon Muddy Mud Dragon. And so that guy was able to bring out Invoked Kaliga with that Muddy Mud Dragon, and that guy ended up on a board of Invoked Kaliga as well as Crystal Wing. And the problem with the Adding-Nister deck is that it depends so much on activating monster effects in order to special summon monsters. So I couldn't do anything in that game, so I just scooped there. Impermanence is basically there to out the invoked Kaliga, and Rivalry of Warlords, since this deck is almost entirely Cyberus monsters, then I could basically counter decks like Tri-Brigade and Drytron, which Tri-Brigade relies on Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters, while Drytron relies on machine monsters as well as fairies. So those decks can only control one type of monster while Rivalry is on the field. And now here is my extra deck. I decided to run 2 copies of Dark Infant Adding-Nister, one of the new additions to this deck. 1 copy of Salamangreat Almirage, 2 copies of Splash Mage, 1 Cyberus Wicked, 1 Code Talker Inverted, 1 Update Jammer. And for the Code Talker monsters, I run Trance Code Talker, Power Code Talker, Access Code Talker. And for the Adding-Nisters, I run 1 Dark Templar, as well as, of course, the boss monster of this deck, the Arrival Cyberus Adding-Nister, and Wind Pegasus and Light Dragon Adding-Nister to round up the extra deck. I decided to run double copies of Dark Infant and Splash Mage in just so that way, in case I have to do my combo in late game, then I do have the tools to do that. I also decided to switch out my Fire Phoenix for Power Code Talker just because, just like Dan Mari Adding-Nister, what's it called? Fire Phoenix's effect, where you can pop a card in the field, is too conditional because you would your Fire Phoenix would have to battle an opponent's monster in order to do that. So if you have Fire Phoenix on the field and you have a Chi-Chi in the graveyard, you can banish your Chi-Chi from the graveyard and destroy your Fire Phoenix and then destroy the attacking monster. That is a bit too conditional. So I decided to run Power Code Talker. It does require a bit more materials to make, but its effect where you can disrupt your opponent is still... Its effect where you can basically interact with your opponent's field is still pretty cool. And it's a lot less conditional than Fire Phoenix. So it says once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster in the field, negate that target's effects until the end of the turn. And that's pretty cool, if you ask me. Access Code Talker is still a pretty cool card. There's no doubt about that. If anything, if you want to go on a budget, you could try and switch out your Access Code Talker for a 2nd copy of Dark Templar, just so that way you can increase the consistency of this extra deck. Just like Infant and Splash Mage, if you want to go into late game to see your Dark Templar Adding-Nister combo again, you can switch the access code for another copy of Templar. And now for my side deck. You guys can build a side deck any way that you want to, depending on your playstyle. So my side deck consists of 3 copies of Nibiru, of course, to out those combo decks. 3 copies of Artifact Lancia. For those of you who have been watching my videos for the longest time, you guys probably know that I have been a big proponent of Chaos Hunter. I still like that card, but I decided to try out Lancia this time just so that way I don't lose a card advantage. Chaos Hunter does require you to discard a card from your hand in order to special summon it, so I decided to just run Lancia this time. One of these days I might switch Lancia out for Chaos Hunter again, just because I like that card. 3 copies of Dark Ruler Namor, again, some more outs for those combo decks. I'm also running 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, just so that way I can out those back row decks. And I also run 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Some cards that I actually I wanted to consider were, of course, Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster. I also wanted to try and include Hey Trunade, but that might be for a future video. I mean, the problem with Hey Trunade is that your opponent can still set those cards on the next turn. So I figured that Cosmic Cyclone would be a pretty good card to use instead. And for those of you who cannot afford Lightning Storm right now, you can in fact include Evenly Matched as a budget option. And now let's get on to the combo. For those of you who have decided to stick around, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate the support, and I hope to make more great deck profiles like this for you all. So this combo, as you guys can see, involves both Format Skipper and a Chi-Chi Adding-Nister. I'm going to go ahead and normal summon Format Skipper. Now I'm going to reveal, let's say, I don't know, I'm just going to go ahead and reveal Dark Infant. And then I'm going to make this an Adding-Nister monster. So I'm going to send this away. This will pretend that this is the graveyard. Send it away. I'm going to link summon my Dark Infant Adding-Nister. instance, so you're gonna chain Dark Infant as chain link 1 and Form Skipper as chain link 2, and you're going to search for your Gachiri. There we go. And then you're going to use Dark Infant's effect to search for your Ignister Island. Now you're going to activate your island. Let's put it right here. Island is right there, and you're going to use its effect to special summon your Chi-Chi from your hand. A Chi-Chi is going to let you search for your Bikari. I completely forgot to shuffle my deck, but it's not a problem because it's just a combo video. I mean, a combo tutorial. So now I'm going to link summon my Cyber Squid Kid right here. And now you're going to use Island effect to special summon Bikari. Bikari is going to let you search for Chainlink 1, your Bikari, and Chainlink 2, your Wicked. So you're going to, I think we're going to I'm going to banish my Format Skipper right there. Yeah, excuse me, everybody. So now I'm going to use Wicked's effect to search my deck for Baruru. And I'm also going to use Bakari's effect to search for I Meet You. At this point, you could go ahead and activate I Meet You so you can reveal. You're going to reveal Axis Code Talker or Dark Templar. And you're going to go ahead and search your deck for Doyon right there. So yeah, like I said, I would have loved to run Doyon at Ignister in this deck, so just so that way I could get that free special summon. I don't have any water monsters with a 2200 original attack, unfortunately, so I can't get Hiyari. But I'm going to go ahead and use Gachiri's effect to target one of the monsters that's freely special summon it. Now I'm going to use these 3 cards to link summon Dark Templar at Ignister. And I'm going to use Gachiri's effect just so that way I can combo off easily. I'm going to use Gachiri's effect to target Dark Templar at Ignister, so that way it's unaffected by my opponent's card effects until the end of the turn. Now I'm going to use Baruru's effect to, I'm going to use Eyelight's effect to special summon Baruru, Chainlink 1 Templar, and Baruru Chainlink 2. Actually, I could go ahead and just add Danmari instead. I apologize, everybody. So I'm going to send Doyon from my deck to the graveyard instead, and I'm going to use Dark Templar to special summon back Doyon. And did I say Doyon? Yeah, Doyon and Bikari. Now that we got that established, I'm going to go ahead and synchro summon my Wind Pegasus. Use Baruru's effect to special summon Doyon at Ignister. There we go. Now I'm going to use Doyon's effect to bring back. Let's say I'm going to bring back a Chi-Chi, just because I can. I'm going to link summon my Splash Mage right here. Now I'm going to use Doyon's effect to add back the I Meet You, so that way I can prepare for next turn. And then I'm going to use Splash Mage's effect to special summon any monster that I want in defense mode. So I'm going to bring back Wind Pegasus. Now that I have 3, 4, 5, 6 materials, I can go ahead and make my Arrival Cyberse at Ignister. So that is the combo that you end on, guys. So off of 2 cards, you were able to plus 3. So you have Arrival Cyberse at Ignister with 4000 attack that is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And you do have a Danmari that you can use as an Altergeist Conquery during the battle phase. And you do have a Chi-Chi and I Meet You to set up for your next turn. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on my social media platforms and join me live on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you all have a majestic day.